And we are back at the Shindig podcast with the very first time I can say a Miss Nina Reichenbach.
Hello.
Hi guys.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Nice to be here.
Yeah, this is actually, you're our first official female trials rider. That's kind of a big deal.
Great to have her on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I should thank you as well, Matt, for having me on the podcast.
So I was going to get to that. I must say, this is now, I've got a guest host with me, Mr. Stephen Rogers.
Otherwise known as
Mr. Captain Crash.
There we go.
I almost said that, Captain Crash. And I'm going to try and do this a little bit more. Get some trials riders on to join me, to just to make the conversation even better, and even better with our guest today, Miss Nina. So without further ado, really, this is about you. Let's dig deep.
Gone international once again, right?
Yes. So people that don't know, where are you in the world, Nina?
I'm living in Germany, in the south of Germany, between Stuttgart and Karlsruhe.
I would like to say I know where that is.
Yeah.
Very well
Let's
pronounced.
go with Germany.
Germany. You live in Germany.
Yeah.
Beautiful country. We've been there riding a few times. They know how to ride trials over there, I must say. They've got some very well-known trials riders. But for you yourself, when did you what was the beginning point for you being like, oh, I quite like this sport, getting into trials? It's very,
I think already when I was really young, I think 3 or 4 years old, I was already riding with the bike on the playground, and I was riding down the stairs, and all other parents were like, "Oh my God, you're crazy! You can't do this!" And from this point, it was clear that I have to do anything with the bike. And when I was 8 years old, a classmate of me, he was riding trials, and we often played in the afternoon together. And then I started with a normal bike, but it broke really fast. And then my dad decided to go with me to the club and join the training. It was every Saturday. And then I got into trials, and it was in 2007. And also in this year, I was riding my first competition. It was a small competition, the South German Championship, but I could directly win. And then it was like, was.
So there weren't many competitors at that point, sort of thing. There weren't many people to compete against.
One and done.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You actually been riding a bike from very, very young, like before I was
very
even
organic,
riding a bike.
right?
It's like a super organic.
Yeah, that was certainly something I wanted to cover, just how you got into it, and certainly just trying to find out about other women in the sport and how do they get drawn to it. And it sounds like from your perspective, it was very natural from an early age, just liking to be on bikes. So was it a trial specific club that you initially joined and then started riding in the competitions? Like you said, what sort of age were you when you first did that competition back in 2007?
It was a club. They had bike trials and motor trials, and it is a small club, or it was a small club. So maybe on a Saturday there were 5 to 10 children who were training with an older man, and there wasn't a real structure in the club, because when you got older, it was like, okay, there were no trainers or anything, so you had to see how you get better by your own. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, difficult.
We never had clubs. Hearing all these stories of you guys actually getting taught. You had a club.
Yeah, we had a club in Essex. Come on.
So where I was, I'd never joined the club.
Trial Club had a club. We were lucky enough. We were one of the lucky
Were there
ones.
any other women at that time, or any other girls that were riding? Was it just you?
No, I think it were only boys. Maybe there sometimes were for 1 or 2 trainings some girls, but then they decided to stop and didn't come anymore because they didn't like it. And I think until I really started with the competitions, I was the only girl who was doing trials I knew. And then in the competitions there were some more girls, but not so many, maybe 2, 3, 4 girls. Yeah.
Was it that winning mentality that really, gave you the passion and motivation to keep riding, or I mean, you obviously really enjoy riding bikes still to this day, and but is it the competition element you think drives you to keep going?
Yeah, I think it was a perfect match for me to find the trial sport, and of course I want to win. Yeah,
Yeah, who
and I
doesn't,
think
right?
this is
Yeah,
also
yeah,
yeah.
the thing why I continue with training, why I always want to get better. Yeah.
And it's becoming harder, right? Because I wanted to get your perspective on some of the new younger riders that are coming through the sort of the international stages, and things are really heating up now. Obviously, yourself and Vera are obviously really battling for those top spots. I guess we should first congratulate you on another great season.
Yes.
Obviously, winning the World Cup in Belfort, and then second place in the World Championship, which must be really gutting after. I was actually just
Was it 3 years? I must.
No,
You're gonna
4 years
see.
running.
You're gonna
4 years
correct me.
running,
So
and Nina got pipped to the post for a 5th year. If I'm
Wow.
right in saying that.
we only skipped 2020 because it didn't happen.
Well, that was it.
Yeah.
Gutting, right?
And then somehow, Vera pulled through there. So,
But yeah, it must be. What's your thoughts on obviously the new riders coming through in the female sort of category? Because it certainly seems like there's some hot competition now.
Yeah, it's crazy when I look back to my first World Cup in 2014. It was in Krakow. I think we were maybe 8 or 9 riders, and we had we had no semi-final. We only had the final, and the final was on Saturday afternoon between the semi-final of the boys. So it was yeah, it
Yeah,
was
much
not the
smaller
feeling
event, right?
of a World Cup.
see,
It was just.
And the new rules, it seems like that's really pushed the women's riding as well, right? Because when it was the old rules and dabs were allowed,
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
it did. I mean, I remember back to sort of those competitions you mentioned, 2014 onwards, and it was literally watch the girls like pull their bikes over a lot of the obstacles, and it was a real shame to see because you're all amazing riders in your own right, and I still can't believe some of the balance lines that are in some of the women's events.
Better than most of us on the beam. Yeah,
exactly, right. But now things are really picking up, like big gaps to front and like pedal ups, and it certainly seems
hooks.
as if exactly.
Nina does bigger hooks than I ever can.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I'm actually really impressed of how much it's come on. I would actually argue it's the fastest sort of growing category out of obviously the men's and the 20-inch and 26. It seems like the women are certainly improving at a much faster rate than anyone else at the moment.
Yeah, I really like to see that in the competition. It's not only, okay, there's a small obstacle, let's put on pink arrows for the girls. It's like they really build the sections also for us, and I really like this because, yeah, there's a bigger value if you ride those sections. It's much better if you're only riding the
you want to
small
stay.
shit.
Yeah, exactly. You want to
Exactly.
stay on the bike and really kind of feel like you've pushed yourself and also make it. You know, it's not about kind of going, oh great, I got up because of this crazy dab.
Yeah,
you know, which
100%.
does sort of, kind
But
of.
yeah, so do you like the new rules? You think they work, or is there anything you would think you would change, or you're happy with how things are set up at the moment?
I really like the new rules. I like it that you have to collect points and that it's not like dabbing and you get negative points. I really like that. But I think in some points they could build the sections better because we already had competitions where the first or the second obstacle was the hardest. So if you tried it and you fail, then you don't have the possibility to collect
No,
the
I
points.
couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Same for the men's category. Some of the world championship like sections where
At this point, OPs.
exactly. Well, I mean, mate, you came to the European Championship in Tuscany, right? You
Yes,
remember
in Italy, yes.
partly what it was like, but yeah, I agree. It should always be sort of an eliminator, right? Each gate gets progressively harder, and I know that must be really difficult for the section markers because how do they say?
Of course, yeah.
A
this is
140 side op is harder than like this really techie balance beam or vice versa, right? How do you grade each obstacle? And they need to make it hard in these competitions because as we've seen, a lot of the riders end up finishing, well, in Belfort was a great example, right? The semi-finals, there were like 4 or 6 riders or something like that, all on 4 points in some of the men's category. And even in the women's category now, it's becoming so competitive that you make like you say, you make that one mistake going for gate 2 clean. If you make that mistake, that could cost you the title, right? And or alternatively, you take the dab, try to get the rest of the points. It becomes that tactical battle again, which it's a hard one. But yeah, no, I kind of agree with you there. I think that is definitely something we would prefer to see, that it gets progressively more difficult.
To that stage, though, how does training change from what it used to be and what it is now? Like, do you think that you train less in dabs? I know this is a weird thing.
I've never trained in dabs.
Has anyone trained in dabs? Yeah. People would have, right?
Yeah.
Has anyone?
No.
That's what I'd like to hear. Okay, just
maybe you do some pistol squats in the gym to like figure out if you can lift, because you would not believe it, right? I've got so much leg pump from squatting down to try and do a dab in one of these old competitions. It was like, I remember seeing Nico and Vince jump up this huge pipe, and I was like, I'm going to try and dab on it, and just ended up squatting down and literally couldn't lift the bike up. And you sometimes see the people where they get the pedal stuck underneath the obstacle. And you're like, oh, I just want to help them. I just want to lift the bike away from that obstacle. They got this fucking pedal stuck and they're going up and down. No,
but I'm
miserable place.
I don't know why I've never asked anyone that, being like, have you ever trained for a dab?
Who does train in dabs? Andrew Chai.
Yeah, he's definitely trained in that.
There was this one time, right?
Pedal.
We went to Moutier in Switzerland, and he hadn't really practice dabs, right? And there was this one obstacle that he knew he couldn't do, so he's found a curbstone and he swung the bike out on the curbstone. Honestly, it was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It's just like, oh, Chai, what are you doing? You're gonna get a 5 anyway.
I mean, I know plenty of riders who are just like, it's all kind of never put your foot down. Even when dabs were a thing, you would kind of certainly aim for that, and never, what am I trying to say? BRU, none of this bash.
Well, it's like in training, right, where you just carry on riding, you treat it like a competition. Is that what you do it for yourself, or is there particular moves that you feel like you need to work on, like side ops, or is it just natural, you just go out on your bike and try and get some exercise done, really?
It was like this in the past years, but since 2 or 3 years, I really have a training plan for the trials bike. This day I only do run-up techniques, jumping techniques, section training, like to have a specific training, and also to cover all different techniques and everything, to be prepared for
like
whatever
specific
comes.
moves. Yeah. So do you you're saying like you'll go for a training and be like, okay, today I'm going to work on gaps to front, maybe, like as that specific, or
yeah, exactly. And then depending, maybe a technical jump off or go as far as possible. It depends on the training and also on the time we are in the year. So
nice. Is that something you've come up with yourself, or is that a plan that, I know you're obviously friendly with a lot of the other German riders and Jonas and Dominic and these guys. Yeah. Is that something you've collectively planned together, or is it your own schedule?
As you know, Jonas has his own trials academy, and he's also writing those trainings plans and doing online coaching and all those stuff. And I'm getting the trainings plans from him. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, nice. So,
so I only have to do it. I don't have to think about it. What I do, I only have to
these guys in Europe are so professional. We look like amateurs whenever we go to an event.
I'm like, what do we? I'm going out training. Well, that's it. It's just like, I'm just going to go and sweat. Like,
one of the ones that really made me laugh was when Jack Carthy released the video, and he's just like creating a piece, like making a piece of toast, and he's eating toast, and he's off on his way.
Here's my training. Okay, I eat toast and ride a bike.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think maybe that's where we're going wrong over here. We're not taking it. The Germans always took things very seriously. Come on.
Watch the time.
They're always. So it always felt like That's why we're just much more. Maybe that's why we're more silly on our bikes.
We
You
like
guys
we
are
like
such.
the chilled out, relaxed vibe. But that's just us.
And maybe that's why we crash.
Yeah. But is it so, Nina? Are you riding full time at the moment, or are you still studying or working, or is this a full time job for you?
No, I'm working in the administration of a company in the HR department.
Okay.
But I'm not working full time. I'm working at the moment 30 hours in the week, and in February I'll reduce my working pensum, and then I only work 20 hours. And the other 10 hours I start to work in the Academy of Jonas.
Oh, nice.
Do
nice.
coaching,
So you're gonna
do
coach.
some
cool.
office
Cool.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I'm sure that will.
That's the plan.
I was
Is
gonna
it, for a lot of riders, right? It's very difficult. I mean, obviously it's such a small sport still, and to earn a living from just riding competitions is very difficult. There's only a very few select people. And like people,
So mind you.
people ask me.
None
I'm
of
like,
us. None of it.
yeah,
We
like,
don't.
oh, so
We
you
have-
go to World Cup events, but you don't do this full time
No,
job?
it's like,
No way.
we have
Not
to-
even close. Yeah, wouldn't make the cut. But
I think we're fortunate to have.
yeah,
You know,
no,
to
it's
have
it's difficult because I remember a conversation with Jonas Christensen from Denmark that we've obviously spoke to before, and him telling me about his experience trying to get a temp job in teaching and this type of thing. It's really interesting to hear where everyone.
Yeah,
sort
you kind of believe.
like-
You go, oh, that's
Yeah,
their
yeah.
life.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
don't do anything else.
Nothing
but
else.
It's kind of trials is very much the opposite kind of that. But it
But
sounds like
what is your training schedule like at the moment? And you said obviously you get a lot of that from Jonas, but how do you fit that around your working schedule?
The thing is that I can work whenever I want, almost. So I try to start early and also finish early with work, and then I can go training. And if there's some work left to do, I can also do it in the evening. If it's like only emails or office stuff, that's no problem.
Nice.
And yeah, I think a
It's
good
great to
time.
be flexible.
that
yeah.
sounds really
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
actually sounds
Yeah.
pretty breezy. I must say.
And
if you can-
a good time management is always.
You just wait for it to stop raining in Germany, and then you go right. I wish we had that
I know.
luxury here. We're like, wait for the weekend. Oh fuck, it's raining.
So when you're training, are you always riding with other riders? Then you must or is it like a training session, or it's like a fun ride? Because do you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Yeah.
To be honest, I would say 80% of the time I'm riding alone. I'm training alone. And if I train with others, it's not like the training like with the real structure and okay, today we do this. If I train with others, it's like okay, today we do what we want. We do some small contests and yeah.
Nice.
I think that's an important point, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Trials is such a small sport that you have to be pretty self-motivated. I mean, we're lucky here in the UK. I think we have quite a big street scene, and there's that real social element, right?
This is
I
it.
think we all live maybe slightly closer together, or people are willing to travel, that we were able to have these type of group rides. But yeah, at the end of the day, like when you're young and you're getting better, you can't travel easy. You maybe it's a lot of relying on your parents to support you and take you to competitions
And
this type of thing.
dedication, so that the riding and
Yeah,
time
yeah.
that you're putting in is
Yeah,
being
yeah.
shown
Yeah.
in competitions.
And I think that's why a lot of people struggle as well to keep the
Yeah.
sport up, because it's quite a lonely sport unless you have good friends by you, like live near
Well,
you.
imagine for the females. This
Yeah,
is what
yeah.
we mean.
Well,
like,
so Nina,
you know,
like
this-
you've I guess you've always generally trained with the guys, right? And I mean, one of the things we really wanted to ask you was, like, clearly we need to get more women into the sport.
Yeah.
And maybe you have thoughts on how we do that, or maybe things that appeal to you about trials, like why obviously you just love riding your bike, and maybe it's natural as that any girls riding their bike, here you go, this is another thing you can do in the form of cycling, right? It doesn't have to be road cycling, it doesn't have to be mountain biking. Let's show trials to more girls to get them into it as a younger age. But yeah, I think it comes back to that point of, if you haven't got maybe like your friends with you that are willing to
exactly.
to ride. Have you got any thoughts on that?
I think it's really difficult to answer this question because I think the problem of many girls is when you're young and you're in school and then your friends they ask you, hey, what did you do on the weekend? And then you say, I was riding trials. I think they are just laughing and why didn't you play with the horse or you were riding something like this?
Right, yeah, okay.
I think
Yeah, because I'm cool.
Yeah, because I'm cooler than you.
Yeah.
That's why.
Because I can jump on one wheel on a bike
Yeah.
and it's amazing.
It's not as I understand. So in that terms, it's not necessarily as socially not accepted, but socially understood because they
Yeah,
don't know
it's-
what it is.
Yeah.
in this age they don't think that this is a cool sport. They think it's just weird to jump on a bike without a seat. You know.
I was going to say as well, what about the Shindig element? We are the Shindig podcast at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I wanted to
That's
get Matt
true.
to make sure that we got this in, that
Yeah.
we need to bring up some Shindig stories. And maybe you're going to tell us that
Wait, I know
always
she wears shin pads.
shin pads, right?
We know you
and
wear
that,
shin
and that
pads.
must be like a thing for most girls. But have you always worn shin pads?
No.
Yeah.
When I still remember when I started, and I think maybe also in the first 3 or 4 years, I never wear shin pads. And the parents from the other children, they always said, you have to wear this if you're older. Your legs, they will look like shit. And I was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I don't care.
yeah, I don't care.
I mean-
I just want to ride my bike. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. That's it.
But then I have one Shindig story. It was Friday evening. I got a new bike, and the next day was a competition. And in front of our house there was a playground. And then there were many kids. I was there with my new bike, and I was super proud to have
Yeah.
the new bike.
It's always something
riding-
new. New pedals, new bike, new
Yeah, of
shoes.
course.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Riding there without anything, no helmet, no gloves, only like normal shoes. And then I was jumping on the back wheel and slipping off from the pedal and hitting the pedal in my knee, of course.
Oh.
And then we had to go to hospital, and they had to like the stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And the next day I had the competition. I rode anyway, but yeah, that was.
Oh, so you
savage.
actually rode the
That
next
was-
day. Damn it, I
Like you
didn't
say,
ride.
everyone remembers their worst
Yeah,
one,
exactly.
right?
I actually, ironically, now this podcast coming, I had this. I think it was the worst shindig I've ever had on Sunday.
You're not trying to
'cause-
take your own title.
No,
though.
just two in one day. Just two. It's just two in one leg. But now I understand. You did the right thing, Nina. You went to the hospital.
Yeah.
Well done.
Most of us guys.
I didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Already, it's yeah.
We'll look at it. That'll be all
Let's
right.
not talk about it. It's the
That'll
first time
be
I put
alright.
jeans on since
Yeah,
I've had
yeah.
it, and it's just been
It's hiding. I want to see
because
it
I'm
now.
stupid and got skinny jeans.
You have to get that out later.
But as I rightly say to anyone, just now you're wearing shin pads. You know, I can't imagine. I can't imagine a lady having
Yeah.
like savage scars. I know it's so very sexist of me, isn't it? Really.
We're gonna have to like I know these events. We're gonna have to hand them out to the female riders. You got to wear these, otherwise you might get a shindig and you might never come back.
Yeah. Yeah, or if anyone
Please
has
stay.
really any males have really clean legs, I'll just start giving out like water tattoos that they can put on their shins, just
Yeah.
so that they like I'm a trials rider.
Join in.
You know,
Join in.
it's part of it. But as we're on to that shindig, we'll go into what we do call the quick fire round, and Steve's going to be here to ensure it's a bit more of
Adjudicate.
a quick fire round because I just blabber on. So
Right, you
the
ask the
quick fire-
questions. Come on.
Yes, I will. And I've got to remember what the questions are now. Right, we've asked one of them already, so we've heard about your worst shindig,
Yeah.
which is great because I'm useless and always forget to ask most of the people. Now, more importantly, what most people might want to know: where might be your favourite place to ride, Nina, or train, however you want to call it? Where's your favourite place to ride your bike?
I think my favorite place are really places where are lots of rocks. Like I love riding rocks. I think this is my favorite obstacle. So,
Natural, yeah.
yeah,
Natural, yeah.
yeah, but but not 100% natural. For example, riding close to the coast is like it's a cool atmosphere, but for riding, I don't like it that much. So
There's
the
no
best
run-ups
thing,
then, right? That's the
yeah.
trouble. I remember.
That's so true.
We used to go to the coast, a place called Clacton-on-Sea. Not the nicest area in the UK, but my friend Dan Wheeler would always like drag us there because he just loved all the static moves. But there was zero run-ups. So
Nina knows Dan Wheeler.
He literally struggled to do anything other than like brakes on constantly, hop, 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 and yeah, that would certainly tire quickly. But yeah, like you said, I think it's nice where you can do all the moves in one spot, and rocks are great because you can attack them for so many different angles, and it's always different, right? You always find you go, oh well, I can get up it this way easy, but this side with an undercut edge is like really difficult.
Like man-made rocks, I suppose. That level where a man has put the rock there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a trials park.
Yeah.
Trials park with many rocks. That's what I like.
Yeah, definitely.
Same. You won't want Radical Bikes doesn't have any rocks right now.
It kind of does, but they're wet and
that's his fault. He was meant to
and...
come and build that section, and he hasn't been there yet. So, okay. So you're in let's say you're in a good trials park with some very well presented rocks here.
They've got some great parks in Germany, right? I don't think many people. The downside of Germany is you have to go in the summer, otherwise you do risk it being wet.
No, you go to Cologne Jam. Shout out to them.
Oh yeah, Cologne Jam. When was the last time that happened?
I don't know. I went there in like 2013. Then there was a 15. Anyway, yeah, that's another. Did you ever go, Nina? Maybe we actually.
Yeah, I was there 2 or 3 times, I think.
What years were you actually there? Do you remember? I can't remember what I was.
Back to the archives.
I was definitely because we might have been there at the same time without even realizing. I mean. You must have known some loud English people.
I think I was there in the year of my first World Cup, so 2014 maybe. There were the big Jitsi tents.
Yeah,
I
feel like Jitsi wasn't even around when you went.
No, I definitely went in 2013 because that was like that was my year for trials. It's still the best year of my career at that point. It's all gone behind me now.
They've got some cool places to ride in.
But anyway, see how this is not the quickfire round. You're not a very good adjudicator.
I've been dragged down here with you.
You've been just brought down with me. So
it's cool concept.
We're in your we're going to call it your own park with these man-made placed carefully rocks. Who would be kind of your crew that you'd like to ride with, Nina? That kind of gets you going and it drives you to ride your bike.
Or is it going to be Vera Baron like breathing down your neck, just clean the section, and you're like, oh shit. It's interesting because we always ask this question, but it's like, do you want to be surrounded by people you're like really friendly with? Like you call your buddies and just having a good time, or is it you feel like you want to ride with the people that you feel like push you the most, or like the people you're competitive with that really put you in a mindset where you like really want to ride the best you can on your bike?
I think it's a mix that I like. For example, if I train together with Larina, it's always really good because we are almost at the same level. In some points she's better, in other points I'm better, and then it's really good to push each other and to go to the next level. I really like this, but I also like to train with Heiko, with Yannis, with Jonas, with all those guys, to have fun on the bike, talk.
They're a great group, actually.
And,
shout out to the German riders.
Yes. We've got plenty of them on my list. They don't even know they're on the list.
Some of the smiliest people. Dominic in particular, the guy it's just such a smiley guy when you meet him. Such a nice guy.
And but those kind of what I find, I don't know if it's the same. You enjoying riding with those people because kind of watching is a big part of learning. Yeah. Right. Even though they might be doing something that's it's twice the size, but the technique is the same. You've got to do that same kind of drive. And do you find yourself, do you watch a lot of trials to kind of help you learn as well?
I think I watch a lot what I do, like filming during training
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then analyzing the technique and
Yeah, yeah.
everything. But also, of course, on social media and all that stuff, you just see trials. So
Sure.
yeah.
And you're inspired. You
And
know.
this is a point. Have you always sort of mainly watched the male riders, or like going back like several years now, right, to the other female riders that dominate? I was actually looking when I look back at the World Championships, right? Corinne Moore, she won so many World Championships, and she was even before my real era of joining the World Cups. Do you remember her as a competitor, or do you remember the years of sort of Tatiana and I guess we had Janine as well, which
who
was
beat me in an
another
arm
top rider.
wrestle. Sorry, go on.
I remember there was one competition in France in La Tour d'Essai, where I was competing, but I was still like super young, maybe 9 or 10 years old. And I remember that Karin was there, and she was riding in the men elite category. That
What?
was, yeah,
Oh,
really.
wow.
So there wasn't a women's at that time. Is that what you mean, or she just like, no, I want to do the men's?
I think there was no women category.
Wow.
Right, because obviously it
And
had to
then-
begin some
Oh,
point.
there must have been the World Championship, but maybe not in a World Cup. We have
Okay,
to, we have
wow,
to check that.
that's amazing.
Yeah, and it was a
Crazy.
small competition. It was not a World Cup,
yeah,
not
yeah.
World
Okay,
Championship.
fine. Right.
It was,
Yeah, like a
super
club
small
event.
yeah.
French competition.
Okay,
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
That's really
And
cool.
I think this
Yeah.
was the only time when I really saw her riding
Yeah.
and competing. But of course, with Tatiana, I shared many podiums.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also with Janine, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tough battle.
I met Janine actually. That was the first female trials I actually met. And then if anyone, there's a joke about it in 2013 where we did a show together and Andre filmed me and her having an arm wrestle and she beat me. So just not gonna beat around the bush. That happened. So that might be why she was stronger.
Strong woman.
Strong,
Yeah.
rider. Do you
Yeah.
do you have your own kind of regime or schedule or training where you actually build your strength off the bike? I'm talking about training not on the bike.
Yeah. In the past years, I was always going to gym following a plan, but it wasn't like 100%. But in January, I decided to start to work together with a fitness coach, the same as Jonas has.
Nice.
And with David, I started in January to learn the basics of the Olympic weightlifting,
Yeah.
and
Seems to
I
be the way
really
to
love
go,
it.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's
I-
been watching Joachim lifting those crazy weights. Like, it does seem to help because guy can jump
That's
so
the whole,
high.
and a lot of people
Yeah.
are doing that because obviously it's
Yeah, it's
pure body
explosive.
strength.
Yeah.
I was
Explosive
about to say,
power. Yeah.
explosive, and it looked like you like you said you're really enjoying that by the
Yeah.
by the looks of
Yeah.
it.
Nice. fun.
Also, for me, it was cool to have another sport where you really need to learn a new technique.
Yeah.
Because if you're in the gym and you're doing squats and deadlifts, yeah, it's cool as well, but it's not like that technical. And if you do the weightlifting, it's like super technical, and you need to work a lot
Don't
on
do it
it.
wrong because you know about it the next day.
Yeah.
Wake up like, oh, my back.
How often are you doing sort of then weightlifting?
I'm doing on Wednesday, normally I'm doing weightlifting, and on Monday and on Friday I'm doing like a normal gym training
Okay.
with
So it's not like
squats,
it's not sort of like 5
deadlifts,
times a
and
week where
that
you're like
basic
really
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Right. We should get back to this quickfire round. Just remembered. I'm the adjudicator.
So
Where were we?
You were right.
We were where?
You were-
Who? We need to do what now?
She's riding, and then so what would be what's your favorite move, Nina? What's that one move that really is the most satisfying?
I really like side hops.
Yes.
You're the side hop man.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just
I
got
hate
excited.
side hops. I
Just got
literally
excited.
can't stand them.
I just and I mean, why is that? Do you think that you kind of get from that?
Why I like side hops?
Yeah. Why do
mean?
you think? Because I know why I like them. I'm like, why do you like them?
Yeah, I think I like the movement and that you can really get high without a run up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
If
that's
you're
what I
good at
like.
them.
Yeah,
Like me. I'm just like,
no, it's less. It's
over
like
bar height, I'm struggling.
to anyone else that was wondering why,
Yeah.
to me, it's the least consequential trick that you can push yourself
That's true.
to like another. So you
Unless
might push it that day and you go, do you know
when
what?
you used to go to your wrong side though, or what people
No,
used to call their right
yeah.
side, and you land on the other pedal and you just loop out, and it used to be
that would
so
be nasty.
dangerous.
But I think that's why once you obviously side up to,
Yeah.
we use that term the wrong way. Again, I don't know why. Anyway, your strong foot way. But we side up to your weak foot, and that idea of being able to, I'm sure for anyone, is like give it your all and not quite make it. And you might not succeed. You might not. Sorry, you might not succeed on that day on that particular side up. But that's why you can kind of just keep going and push yourself. So I think you're the only other person we've had on who said a side hop. I might be wrong again.
Maybe
but
wrong.
That's mine.
There's so many of these now.
Yeah.
Pushing up the archives. I guess. So one other thing I wanted to cover, Nina, I noticed you on social media. You have a new bike.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. I guess you were on the Jealousy, the 20-inch Jealousy. So noticed you've moved over to a Maestro. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I joined Krukers in 2017 after my first world champion title, and I'm riding the bike now since 4 years. And yeah, in the last year, I really wanted to know how it feels to ride a carbon bike, because I think like it must be different.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, and then I said it to Chris. He knows about it, and it is okay for him. We are still good. And yeah, then I was looking for a brand to give me a bike to test, and Sheldon from Maestro, he said, yeah, we can try it. And
Nice.
yeah, I received the bike at beginning of September. But then there was the World Cup left, so I still stayed on the crew course. Then after the World Cup, I did some rest and restarted my training on Monday. So far, only 3 trainings
Oh,
with
okay.
the
wow.
with
I
the
managed to
carbon bike.
catch one of those videos then.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does it feel so far?
It feels really good. Like when I built it up and I compared the weight to the crew course bike, I was like, okay, there isn't such a big difference. I thought that it will be like I really feel it when I hold
Right.
the
You're quite
bikes.
surprised.
Yeah,
Even I'm surprised. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
that
But
far
but
off.
even I mean, all of the bikes now have become pretty lightweight. I remember
It's only so far.
way
you can
back
go.
when, if you picked up your mountain bike and then picked up your trials bike, you notice the difference. But it's minimal now, right? We're talking like
yeah,
8 versus 9 kilos or something. Maybe it's less than that. I guess it probably is less than that, right? It's probably like 7 kilos for these
yeah,
bikes.
but in riding the bike really feels different. Of course, it's a different geometry, and I also have another stem and not the same setup, but it feels really faster than the aluminium bike.
Yeah, they're
And
super
also-
stiff, right?
I can see just like the pull that you have with it. It's like there because you're not dragging it along, with being that much lighter, right?
Yeah, and also the back wheel, if you lift it, it goes up so easy. I don't know.
You feel like you're cheating now.
It's so I found it strange when I ride one because it's just it almost feels.
They do react very
It
differently.
sounds funny. It's like too light.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know, but
I think it's just the balance, right? The front wheel versus the rear
I know
wheel
that
sometimes.
from a Krukers to a Maestro, that's considerably shorter, and the bottom bracket is higher, as far as I know. Is that correct?
Don't look at
I
me.
don't
I ride
know.
a big bike.
I'm telling. All right, I'm going to tell you right now because I was talking to Andre, who's been at my house all week,
been
and he was
looking at
like,
this.
"I was going to get a Maestro Carbon that someone was selling, and then so yeah, the Krukers is like 1010, I believe, 1010 in wheelbase. The Maestro is 1000 with 100 plus 100 bottom bracket.
There you go.
So it's much shorter and steeper, which I would imagine for someone of sort of your height would actually be better because the Krukers was quite long, maybe a bit too long for you. So that's why I think, do you feel like that fits you better as a bike already?
Maybe. I don't know.
Bar and stem combo has such a
but it
difference
could
as
be.
well, right?
This is true. You change a bar and stem, it can change the whole
it's
bike.
all about that reach, I think, that you notice the most.
Yeah,
Certainly.
almost like wheelbase used to be a thing
Yeah.
when everyone rode
Yeah.
down.
What was really cool, actually, I noticed that the last World Champs and World Cup is all the female riders seem to have a different bike in the final, which I couldn't believe because in the men's event,
That's a great point.
in the 20-inch men's event, I think it was like 4 out of 6 riders was on a carbon clean, right? It's almost as if every top trials rider on 20-inch has the carbon clean, it seems.
Yeah.
But in the women's, you had the Jitsi, you had a Nozonis, you had, I think, a Maestro. I was amazed.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So it was like the riders were really pulling through, not the bikes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it was quite well split. Whereas it seems like everyone in the men's event, like they ride Krukers on 26 most of the time, and then it's the carbon clean in the 20-inch that seems to be the most popular bike. I think a few people tried to pick up my Krukers by mistake because it's now like,
have you ever tried
you can't even differentiate between them.
That's what I mean. Have you ever tried a 24-inch, Nina, like a different size bike? Or
I guess you did the 26 for a while, right?
I'm going naively here. Tell us.
Yeah, when I was younger, I had the Ozonis Curve in 24-inch. But I was only riding with it once a year for the German Championship with the 26-inch wheels.
Okay.
So it was like just for fun. And then when I started with Krukers, they sent me the 26-inch bike, but in size S, so the short wheelbase.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like a 24-inch from the size. And 2018, when I got world champion for the 3rd time, I decided, okay, let's try it on the 26-inch bike, and I was training the whole winter on the bike, and then I remember the beginning of 2019 in March, there was a competition in Barcelona, where I competed with the 26-inch bike.
Yeah.
And it was the worst competition ever.
Because it's I feel like most of the women's events are kind of set up for 20-inch style. They're like super technical, really quite tight turns and this type of thing, which really the bigger bike generally suits for those like pedal ups, the moves where you can benefit from having a bigger wheel size, right? Which with all the technical twists and turns and balance lines, having a bigger, heavier bike's not going to help with that, right? So you're almost forced into, because you only have one women's category, you're almost forced into all selecting the same wheel size anyway, right? I think by default.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think you can have that diversity in there because of those setups. I've never even looked at it like that.
Anyway, I think this has been great. Thanks for talking to us, Nina.
Before we film, there's two other questions I will ask. Is like, what would you say and like to see in the future of trials? Like, is it as simple as growing the sport, getting more women? Like, what would you want to see?
Of course, getting more women, but I think we're already on a really good way. If I look to the World Championship this year or to the World Cup, we're many girls, and also on a good level, that there are not only the 2 or 3 first ones who will fight for the podium. No, there are 6, 7, 8 riders who can fight for the podium. That's really good, and I really want more women to come to the international competitions. And of course, it would be really, really cool if we could be in 2024 in Paris for the Olympics. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
we got to try and push that from our end as well.
I mean, we might not get to the Olympics in that one, but I'd like to think the next one, because all of these podcasts won't be for nothing, because one day they'll be like, what is trials? And then all of a sudden there'll be a catalogue and a library, and they'll be like, oh, and look who the the champions were at those times, the female champions. So I'm only agreeing with that, Nina. Yes, let's be hopeful. I really do hope that we can push the sport in that way. And
Awesome.
getting more females into it. Are we likely to see you in? I know in 2023, the British Cycling are hosting one of the. Oh, my
You're
mind's
talking
gone
about
blank.
the youth games in Scotland, are you?
Yeah, is it?
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Glasgow.
Yeah, Glasgow.
In Glasgow,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the sort of event that you yourself might attend. Maybe are we going to see you in the UK in the near future or in the next?
If the World Championship will be in Glasgow, of course I'll be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Cool. Yeah. No, we're trying.
We'll have to clarify that. I feel like it was a youth games event, but I may be wrong.
I'm
Well,
sure.
we'll check. It.
No, it's backed by British Cycling and the whole
Yeah. Maybe
UCI.
maybe I might be mistaken.
So I thought,
But
we might
But
get
I
you on this
already
way.
heard of that too.
Okay.
I think it will be there.
Awesome. Let's hope
That
we're still
definitely
riding
is.
in 2023. I'm sure we will.
Yeah. And who would you want to hear on the podcast, Nina? Who would you want to get on the podcast? Can call
I think
somebody out.
a really inspiring trials rider could be Jonas. I think he can really talk a lot about trials, about his academy and
Yeah.
his plans for the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
I think that could be really interesting for everyone.
Absolutely. We've
Cool.
been waiting for more names. He's
Yeah.
He's already
Let's
on the
get-
list.
let's
He
get you on
he
this
doesn't
now.
know yet, but yeah, he's on the list.
He's such a character at the World Champs as well.
I know.
It would be such fun to get him on.
So, Nina, again, thank you very much for coming on and chatting to us. I know
What a pleasure.
I could talk
Yeah.
for hours, but I'm recently been told I need to start being more efficient and getting things. So we're trying to do that. So again, thank you so much for coming to talk to us. I know that I will say finally, so many people have said, please get Nina on. You actually probably been
Really?
one of the names.
Yeah, probably.
And it does help,
We need to get that
you're
representation.
you really are
Yeah.
that kind of, you were the top female rider for a long time, and you still kind of are, really. I mean, this title switch and swap, come on. That happened.
Next year I'll be back on top.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
It's that kind of thing where a lot of people, and I think you have inspired lots of riders. It doesn't have to be female or male, but lots of people have mentioned you, and it's taken me long enough, and thankfully we've got Steve on here to come and join us too. So thank you again so much for speaking to us.
Yeah. Thanks, Nina.
Yeah, I also have to thank you. It was fun.
Good. We are
Thank
glad, and we'd like to think you're going to keep riding until you can't stop, really, and then inspire other women. And it sounds like you're going to become a coach. So I don't see how that won't bring other females to the sport. And
It's got to be really, really
who
helpful.
knows?
Yeah.
In the Olympics, you could
Yeah.
be.
I hope
the
so.
top.
Yeah.
Keep going
yeah.
at least. Yeah.
That would be a big dream. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're rooting for you. We'll be there when it happens too. Right.
Cool.
Well, thanks so much. We've been the Shindig Podcast. You can find Nina on Instagram. I think it's just at Nina REICHENBACH, right? There's no numbers or anything special.
Perfect.
We'll put a link in all of the channels and whatnots in here. I've been Matt Pengelly. That's been Mr. Steve
Rogers.
I forgot your name for a minute.
I got
Nina.
myself in the podcast again.
Oh, yeah, he's actually in it. Nina, again, thank you so much. Our first actual female rider, and that you won't be the last.
Thank you so much.
That's good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
we're going to be growing. Thanks again, Nina. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Ah, you